All right. Hey, guys, welcome to a second edition this week of the North Georgia Advocate Podcast. I'm Chris Dyer, and I'm here with Viral, and we've got a special guest with us this week today. Is a candidate for the mayor of Braselton. His name's Brandon Reed, and we're going to let him just talk about pretty much what he wants, what he feels everybody needs, and what's going on. And as him being a younger generation person, what wanted him to get involved in the political process, because we do need younger people getting involved.
Yep. So I'll start off by saying I'm not that young. All right. Stop everybody thinking I'm a baby. I'm not. I'm 40. I was born in 85. So I've been around the block. If I shave, I definitely look younger. But I've got a few gray hairs coming in. But no, it is good seeing, especially here in the past couple of months. We've seen a lot more of the younger generation stepping up and wanting to get more involved, which is really good because, I mean, you think about it, there's a lot of 18 to 35-year-olds that really don't care. And that's a huge number of voters that can cast their vote on something that'll impact their lives forever. We look at these data centers, we look at a lot of these developments, and a lot of us talk about it. It's not a temporary project. When one of these projects are approved, there's a good chance that building is going to be there the rest of your life. I mean, let's look at, Kubota, Wrigley's, the big manufacturers that we have here in Hall County in North Georgia that I love, that I do like, because they do a lot for the community. They employ a lot of people. They put out a lot of good products. But look at it. Wrigley's, it's been there over 50 years. That original building,
Yeah.
It's expanded, but it's been there over 50 years.
Yeah, I think it opened in the late 60s, I believe. And
Yep.
I have a bunch of family and friends that retired from there, and a couple still work there. I mean, it's been great for the area.
Yep. So I can lead into my journey with that. So 2016, 2014, I was working across the street from Wrigley's. I was over at Peerless Windsmith. I was a machinist. That's when I started growing out the hair a little bit. You got to it, you're a machinist. And then 2 years later, like I said, 2016, January, Wrigley's called me up. It was Mars. Mars had purchased it then. Mars Wrigley's called me up, and they said, "Hey, can we interview you to come over here as an operator?" And I said, "Sure." I said, "But I'm a level 4 machinist. You're not going to be able to pay what I'm making." And they said, we've got bubblegum money. They said, and trust me, we pay more than anyone in North Georgia. And that's important to remember. So I was like, let me humor these guys and see what they got. Well, they weren't kidding. That bubble gum is profitable, especially when they're putting out $1.3 billion in sugar-free bubble gum a year. And I ain't gonna disclose what the profit margins are, but it's sweet.
Oh, it's gotta be.
It's sweet. It's just as good as movie popcorn. All right, it's good profit margins for real. So it's a good business. So they brought me in as a second shift mechanic. And you're familiar with Wrigley's. They've got 1,100. When I worked there, there's 1,100 people working there. It's not necessarily the good old boy system that it used to be. A lot of people say, "Oh, you got to know somebody to know somebody, or you got to wait for somebody to retire or pass away." Not so much since Mars bought it, because that family community, that environment's kind of, as older people have retired and left the organization, that community goes with it.
Right.
So you do have a lot more turnover these days. So I got lucky. Like I said, I got my foot in the door as a second shift mechanic. And right away, I took what I learned in motorsports as a race car mechanic. Because when you're a race car mechanic, you don't want your car limping along, pardon my French, but you don't want your car limping along half-ass. You need it properly maintained so it can run the entire stint of the race and win. So your equipment has to be top-notch in operational condition. I use those same principles on our bubblegum machines. If we're running 48 hours straight, 2, 3, 4, 5 days worth of spearmint bubblegum, because we've got 5 production lines. So any of those can run a different flavor. And you've got to maintain it, or the machine breaks and you start having downtime. Well, that downtime starts adding up, because it's not just no gum coming out. I mean, you've got 15 operators just on that one line that are standing around. This is on the manufacturing side. Now, if there's not any bubble gum being made downstream, all of those wrapping operators, that's a whole another half of the building. And it just, branches off to more and more lines. So you can have 40, 50 people in the wrapping department standing around if your line goes down. So it's important to maintain and keep the equipment running properly. So I became pretty good at that. And that was my first industrial maintenance job. But I was nervous my first week. It's a big building, and I was like, man, I don't know any of this stuff. But within the second week, I was comfortable, and I started making improvements, big time. You'd have a lot of small breakdowns that would, reoccur daily. Sometimes every hour, they give you a call. Hey, this machine broke. Every hour. I went out there. I'm like, why is it breaking every hour? Let's get to the root cause and actually eliminate this breakdown, so that way we can have better efficiency and better productivity. Well, one after the other, our numbers started getting better and better and better, and I started getting recognition for that. Within a year and a half on second shift, I was interviewed and got the role for a maintenance leader position. And a lot of people were upset about that. You've only been here a year and a half. You only spent a year and a half on second shift. You didn't put your time in. You don't deserve to come on day shift and as a lead role. Well, there was other candidates, and I won. I was more qualified, and I got it. And I went into it, and this is important too. So I went into that role with a list of over 40. I think the number was like 44 or 46 small improvements that I could do to these machines that would just be a night and day difference, for the better. I had this list of improvements that I had been gathering from all of my technicians, my operators. Everybody said, hey, can you change this? So I kept a running list. When I went out there and tried to implement all those on my own, let's install this, let's install this signal, this alarm. It wasn't working. Nobody was buying into the ideas, and nobody wanted to see it work for me, and they all failed. So I had to take a step back and say, something's not working here. How can I get more buy-in from everybody? And that's really the key, is you have to go out on the floor, talk to the people that are having the issues every day, and hear their opinions and get their ideas. And then you can help guide it into what's best for the line. And by doing that, by talking to the operator, by talking to the people dealing with the issues every day, you start to get that rapport, you start to get that respect, that trust, and you work together. And now there's a mutual buy-in. Now both of you want to see this idea work, because his idea, you're just helping,
implement it.
Yeah, you're helping put it into place. So it's a teamwork, collaboration, and that's important. And when you do that, we started seeing differences, astronomical differences, really. And I got some global recognition for that. And after a few years, honestly, I started getting bored, and I was wanting to move up into an engineering role. I've only got an associate's degree. I was working full time. I didn't really feel like pursuing a bachelor's, and I still haven't. So I was getting bored and looking for different opportunities. So I would shop around. I would look at King's Hawaiian. I'd look at Baldor, even SKF, and I've got family that retired from SKF. I reached out to all the local manufacturers with my credentials, my background, my qualifications. my skill sets, and of all those places, Mars Wrigley's still had the best overall compensation package. The pay was incredible, and the benefits. I mean, my benefits alone, they were covering my health insurance, which I had the cheapest, lowest liability insurance policy they had, but mine was free, single, no kids. My vision was only like $1 or so, but they matched your 401k 6%, 100%. They contributed to a retirement package. It was a solid career. So when I was out job shopping, I'm not going to take a step down from where I'm at, and nobody in North Georgia could beat it. So again, it put me in a situation. I was like, well, dang, I'm kind of tired and bored of where I'm at. What can I do next? Well, this was 2022, November. That's about the time, right at the time that ChatGPT came out. And I was already playing with it because I used to dabble in crypto. I see Viral here with his, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Oh, I was all heavy into that, and I've lost probably good 25, 30 grand over the years just in crypto. I was starting to get into all of the crazy crypto, the cold wallets. I had Russians hack into my wallets. I didn't give no seed phrase out or anything. It was, you click one wrong link anywhere.
Yeah, get drained.
You're drained. And they did. And I clicked one wrong link, and I watched thousands start immediately. Boom, zero, boom, one at a time too. And I'm like, shit, stop. And it wiped me out. And it was Russians. I confirmed it. I had some groups look into it, and they say, yeah, it was definitely the Russian group. They got your ass. So
you're famous for that stuff.
Oh yeah, so that deterred me for a while, and I did the whole, before that I was doing the AMC GameStop stock market, and I was in the AMC one. I watched 12 grand run up to 76,000 working there at Wrigley's on my lunch break, and then watched it come crashing back down to about 40, and I still held it until it went below where I was originally invested. So I lost money there, taking a gamble because, I want to retire at a decent age. I don't want to work till I'm dead. One thing you do see in manufacturing is you see a lot of people working past the retirement age. And when they are fortunate enough to retire, sadly, they pass away shortly after that. Yeah. And it's sad that we are working ourselves to death, literally. We are working ourselves, and that's another thing that's important. We are working ourselves to death, every one of us.
Well, and a lot of it is Vero and I have talked about this, and Vero can chime in a little more on this. All these local regulations and stipulations that they've got in these subdivisions and everything that they mandate that you do, it causes property to go up.
Oh yeah.
Well, it just means more tax money for the local government. So yeah, I mean, all your aesthetics. You need this, you need that. Can you do a brick front? Can you do a stone front? Can you do this? Can you do this mailbox? We don't like these simple garage doors. Can you do solid wood garage doors? Can you do this? Can you do that? And it's to say that we're trying to keep a standard baseline, whatever, blah 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 blah, and people don't realize that they're doing this because it keeps property values up and increases them further, and they're just collecting more taxes on you. So like, no, and nobody argues about it because, I mean, until times get hard, which maybe we're going into like a recession on a national level, people don't care. It doesn't affect me. I don't really care. It's that mentality in this country, and even on a local level too, because the people that they're building a lot of this stuff for don't necessarily work in the chicken factories. They don't work in SKF. They don't, so. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's a
And
double.
the thing is, there's ways to have nice neighborhoods without pricing everybody out.
Yeah,
you don't have to
absolutely.
mandate brick facade. You don't have to I mean, there's inexpensive materials that look nice and that you can maintain that'll last a long time. You know, and it's like the Flowery Branch mayor. We talked about this not long. One of the councilmen said, "Why would anybody be upset because they passed a subdivision with all $750,000 houses being in it?" You know, and everybody's raising sand about it, and they're like, he goes, "I can't understand why anybody would be upset. We're building $600,000 and $700,000 houses next door." Well, yeah, because you ain't the one having your property values double.
Yeah.
You're struggling to pay your property taxes now. What's it going to be in 3 years when the subdivision's completed?
Yeah.
Yep. And I've spoken on that point too at our last debate discussion forum, whatever you want to call it. That property taxes, that is one of those double-edged swords that people need to be very conscious about, because every homeowner does look at it as an investment. And every homeowner, when they buy in, of course, the dream is buy a home for $100,000 and flip it 10 years later for $500,000. Everybody dreams of that. And the government knows it too. So people get into this house chasing quest. And they get that nice $250,000 home, which is now that's like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath double wide.
1,600 foot house or something. You know.
See, 10 years ago, a $250,000 home was a
pretty nice home.
Yeah,
you're talking brick house.
Yeah, it's a solid house. Now 250 barely gets you. 250, I don't even think gets you a home now.
Oh, I seen a dang double wide.
No, you'll get a house for 250. It'll be a modular, pre-built, prefab.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that by any means. But I'm saying you're not getting that.
Yeah, I seen one up in Baldwin not long ago. It was a modular home on an acre of land, about $330,000.
Yep.
And that's in Baldwin. I mean, that's not populated and they don't have high property values like Hall County does.
Yeah. And see,
but like 2020, right before they printed all this money, I mean, you could buy a pretty decent house, 4-side brick, all the things, $300,000, $400,000 in that same house. Now we're looking at $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, and this is the whole thing where, in the state of Georgia, being a red state, you would think taxing unrealized gains on these property valuations would be a bigger story, but it's not. But when the Democrats talk about taxing unrealized gains on your stocks and the wealthy billionaires and stuff, it's a problem for the Republicans. But when everybody and their mom that owns a piece of property is getting taxed out of their behind on unrealized gains, they look the other way, because it doesn't affect their billionaire donors. It doesn't affect their millionaire donors.
If you paid $100,000 for your house, that's what your house is worth to you.
Absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't matter what some arbitrary algorithm tells you your house is worth.
Well, forget the arbitrary algorithm. I mean, I bought a house for $100,000 here. My neighbor bought his house for $100,000. 5 years later, my neighbor sells his house for $500,000. Sure, my house might be worth $500,000, but I haven't sold it yet.
Exactly.
Why are you taxing me at a fair market value and whatever the 40% assessment at $500,000? I get they're identical, but I paid $100K for it. Tax me at $100K. I mean, don't tax me at all, first of all. But if we're gonna do this, keep it at 100. And yeah, so
yeah. I'm a firm believer, until you refinance or make major home improvements, then you shouldn't be taxed on anything unrealized.
Yeah.
And I know Braselton has got a lot of that issue, because you've got the big subdivisions down there, Chateau Lawn and Reunion, and
Reunion's outside of it. But
there's no telling what the houses in Reunion are worth now.
But then again, that's the thing. It doesn't affect these people. We can talk about it all day long, property taxes, whatever. The people living in Chateau Lawn, the people living in Reunion, It doesn't affect these people. It's our everyday people that actually go out, have a 9 to 5. They're the ones being forced out.
But here's the thing too, on that note, and I have to speak on that because Chateau is in my town, and I was just messaging one of their residents just before I hopped in on this podcast. Is I need their confidence too,
Sure.
because think about this: we're Americans. Say any of us three here, did stumble across a good idea, a good invention, or a good business idea. It's our dream to become successful. I mean, that's the American dream.
Sure.
And if we do eventually get into a neighborhood like that, I've got
Gonna affect us, yeah.
I've got nothing against you on that. And I've told a handful of the Chateau people. I've got a couple of cousins and my grandparents live in Royal Lakes over there off 53, the fancy golf course community. Now, let me paint a picture for you. My grandmother inherited her house in Oakwood off of McClure Drive. She inherited that house from her mom years and years ago. So for years, she was saving all her money from SKF because she retired from there. And for years, she saved all of her money. And she is the only one. She paid for the house that she's in. That was her dream. So, if you're driving through Royal Lakes and you see these big fancy houses, it isn't always, some lucky person that won a Powerball or inherited it. A lot of times it is somebody that's busted their ass
and gotten there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with you.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, but 80% of the millionaires in this country are self-made.
Self-made, yeah. Entrepreneurs, yep.
Yeah, and see, when we talk about the property taxes, and you brought up a point before we started the podcast with Braselton, it does get tricky because we are in 4 counties. We're in Hall, Jackson, Gwinnett, and Barrow. And I'm in the Jackson part. I know Chateau's in the Gwinnett and Hall and some of the other parts there. I know the Falls and a couple of those neighborhoods, they fall in 3 to 4 counties just in one neighborhood.
Right.
And each one of us, I know Hall County property taxes have gotten out of hand. I know Jackson County property taxes has risen substantially. For a quick reference, I know in 2016, when I bought my house here, I paid $125,900, just under 126. This was 2016, 126, 3.25% fixed for 30 years. My mortgage was just over $800 a month, which is cheap, and I live that way. We talk about budgets, and people ask me my capabilities. How are you with budgets? Dude, look how I live my life. I'm not living beyond my means.
Right.
I planned for inflation. I planned for housing market crashes. I planned for higher interest rates. That's why I locked it in at 3.25, and it's still right now, what, 6s?
Yeah.
It's not coming down anytime soon, and neither is the home prices. So, I was very adamant about finding exactly what I wanted in this price range so I could have that, stable $800, $825 a month. Because, like I said, we'll go back to my Wrigley days. I mentioned this at one of and I've been going to all of them. I've been going to the Democrat, Republican discussions, but this one particular one was a Republican of Hall County convention. And I mentioned it to local representatives there. I said, one issue I see with all of our local politicians is that they are severely out of touch with reality.
Oh yeah,
and you look at where all of our elected officials, look where my elected, the ones I'm running against. I've got one guy that's in Chateau, and that's the mayor, and I've got another guy that's on a family farm. And both of these are beautiful properties. I say I'm not holding them, to that, but that's been your standard politician way of life. They don't come from simple means. They don't come from small town double wides or any, modular. No, they don't understand what it's like to live week to week waiting for your paycheck. They have no clue. So it's easy for them to say, we need more splost, we need more property taxes.
It's real easy.
We need everything you can give up that we can take from you because you're all on a 9 to 5. All your paychecks are coming through paychecks, direct deposit. There ain't nothing you can say. We'll get our money that way. We'll get it through your sales tax dollars, and we'll hit up your property tax dollars.
And that's one thing that hopefully if you get elected, you can address, or anybody that gets elected that's new to office. We've got to make it to where, not just in Hall County and the city of Gainesville and Braselton or Lula or wherever, you can't have these meetings at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And
well, if you do, and I've told my people this too. So let's say I get lucky and the work pays off and I become mayor. All right. I've still got 4 council members that I got to deal with, and I've seen their voting history, and that's why another reason why I started to run for mayor here, because it's almost unanimous. There's been one lone councilman that's voted for the people of Braselton, and you can look it up. That one lone councilman is out there. He's up for re-election. Seems like a great guy. But I've told everyone I've still got 3 snakes that I got to be careful about. Everybody said, well, you're not going to be able to implement any change then because you're going to be the young kid. You're a new politician. You're going to have zero respect. They're going to vote against you every time, and you got no way to fight that. I said, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. Back to your point about the times. We can do that at 11 o'clock. If it's a mandatory, we have to do it at 11 o'clock for some bigwig developer to show up. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's some schedule requirements that push for certain times. That's okay, because we will live stream and record all of those meetings, all of those discussions. And when it comes time to vote, I'm going to put the camera on all the council members so that way the people can see how they stand for the town. And that's how I can hold those 3 accountable. I can't go there.
You may be able to put it on a Saturday or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not going to go in there. I can't go in there and strong arm them. I mean, legally, there's nothing I can do to go in there and sway them to do the right thing. I'm not going to go in there and say, you better vote for my people. I'm going to whoop your ass. I mean, I'll be thinking it, and you'll probably see it on my face. But I think really holding them accountable by showing the people who's voting for what, I think the right actions will start to be more abundant.
Because let's just face it, we know what it's going to be. Braselton's got what, 17,000, 18,000 people now?
Yeah.
And I think I seen one projection where they were talking 30,000 people by 2035.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah,
that's just 10 years away. I mean, and it could be faster than that.
I know, especially with Hall County allowing the 2 warehouses and that 700 apartments over here on 7. And that's right. That's right.
Building that new development right on the Hall County and Gwinnett County line in Braselton too, where they're going to put where everybody wanted the Trader Joe's and all that stuff. I mean,
so
that's going to bring a ton of people in.
Yep. And
Brennan.
Yep.
No. So go ahead and finish that because I have a completely separate question.
Yeah, I was going to say, the town of Braselton approved that project. Yep. But the Hall County, they approved the one over there by Road Atlanta. That's even worse. Well, not even worse, but.
Right. But you start approving these subdivisions, going to bring in, got 500-600 homes. You're talking 1,500 people, just bam.
Easy.
That adds up quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon, what are some of the challenges that come up for a town like Braselton that's in 4 different counties? Like, how do you work around that since you're pretty much having to deal with 4 different sets of boards of commissioners and planning and zoning departments and entirely 4 different governments. So as a mayor of a town that's in 4 different jurisdictions per se, like what are some of the challenges that come with that?
Well, I mean, I think you just nailed all the challenges. I think some of the best solutions is having more representation in all of these meetings.
Yeah. But I mean, if you have Jackson County having their meetings on a Monday night, and then you got the same thing going on in at least another county, and then vice versa, other two counties having their stuff on a Tuesday, so pretty much the same time.
Yep.
How do you have enough, enough eyes, enough people, enough of you to go handle, or just like even to pay attention of what, what's going on? You got a team that's kind of helping you with, possibly keeping a track of what's going on. How does it affect Braselton per se?
Yep. So, I mean, really, that's where your council members come into play. I mean, you've got those in each of the 4 districts, and really they need to be representing whichever the majority of that county is. So, I mean, if I've got to represent, a council member that's mostly in Jackson County, I'd hope that person is mostly tied in with the Jackson County events and what's going on. But I don't see that currently.
So is that how Braselton City Council districts are broken up in 4 different
it's
counties?
It's in 4 different districts, but not by county specifically.
Okay, gotcha.
It is all confusing.
See,
yeah.
I was bringing up a thing to Vera the other day. We used to play golf at Chateau Lawn because I did a lot of work for the Saracen family, and hell, the golf cart girl would get on us at like hole 12 and say, "You better stock up now because I can't sell you nothing to hole 16 because this county's dry on Sundays or whatever." I mean, come on. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, Hall County was dry for a very long time on Sundays, 100%.
Exactly.
And they rolled it back to, I think it's like 12:30 now, or 12:31 to be legal.
It's like 11 o'clock now if beer and wine at 11 and liquor or something. But and I'm just making that as an example, but there's bigger issues than just getting beer on a golf course.
So a couple of advantages is we don't have a board of education. We don't have a school board here in Braselton. So which again gets crazy.
So no school taxes?
What's that?
So no school taxes?
No school taxes. We've got a 4 Points Preparatory Academy in downtown.
I might need to move to Braselton.
It's a state funded school, state paid for, run by a group in Michigan. But it's a good effort for the kids. It's a good addition to the community.
So is it a private school, or like do you have to pay? Like
it's a charter school. You don't have to pay. It's like a private school that they can go to.
Is that in the old Braselton High School or whatever it was? Or
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Right there off 53.
Yeah.
And so here's the good. Like I said, it's good and bad. We don't have to deal with a school system, but at the same time, you've got neighborhoods that have 3 or 4 different county school buses and jurisdictions. You've got, you know what I mean? So you've got all these buses coming and going from different counties. I've seen parents try and, they start freaking out and waving down a bus because it didn't stop with their kid, and then they realize, oh, that's a different county. Like, your kid's on the next one. Hold on.
Right. And another thing tying into that is, how would you keep the splosh straight? Would y'all get splosh from, if it passes, would you get it from 4 different counties? And how do you, would you have to keep separate bank accounts to keep everything straight? I mean,
yep.
This is just like a big hodgepodge right here.
Yep. And that's what I've been preaching a lot here recently too. So Braselton's main revenue is our liquor sales and our hotel motel tax. And the current mayor, he'll tell you that too. He says Road Atlanta, our racetrack, and Chateau Lawn, the winery, those are our 2 biggest engines for revenue. It brings tourism to the town. You got people staying in hotel motels, which, like I said, I'm putting the feet on the floor. I'm getting out there on the ground and seeing what the people say. And rooms here have gone from $60, $65 a night to $110. Now, let's not blast that too much, because if that's Braselton's main revenue,
that's still half of what it is in Gainesville.
I'm sure. So Braselton gets money mainly from that. And it's not, I've heard this in a different discussion where a different candidate, brought up liquor licenses. No, liquor licenses isn't the revenue. It's the sale of liquor itself. A bottle of bourbon, I think the town gets like 60 cents, depending on the size and quantity and volume, the town gets 60 cents, 90 cents per bottle. You start looking at how many 12 packs get sold. The town's making some money off these liquor stores. Now, at the same time, we start getting into development and zoning and codes and how many liquor stores you can have per residence. And there's a few issues there because there might be 1 or 2 new liquor stores here in town that shouldn't have been brought here. And had the current administration been talking to the current liquor store owners, they would know that, because those liquor store owners know those statistics. They know that data. They know, hey, do I need to double down and put my own liquor store up the road? They know the competition, and they said, without anyone even conferring or asking them anything, it's just a liquor store approved right there by 85 next to a church.
See, and I think it determines by each county or town's different, because Oakwood just put in a law a couple of years ago to stop more liquor stores from being built because they had so many per capita.
Yep. And see, we've got that too, but I think there is an exception for this time. So, I mean, there's some stuff that local businesses are a little irritated about, and I get it, because you don't want to take business away from your main revenue.
Well, in the same time as you can't raise liquor license fees and business license fees so high, people are going to start moving out of your city. They'll move right outside the city limits.
Including me, because I started, so after my whole stint at Wrigley's, back to the whole ChatGPT thing. So November 2022, I said I was dabbling in crypto and everything, trying to get rich quick while I was working at Wrigley's. I had one of the best paying jobs in North Georgia. And I'll be up front with you, man. I'll tell you, I'll shoot you straight. I was making 44. It wasn't 45, but it's 44 something an hour. And with 5 to 8 hours overtime each week, I was the highest salary, or I was the highest hourly position that was there. Anything above me would be salary, and it would be a loss because of my overtime. 5 to 8 hours a week or a pay period with our bonus, I could pull 110 grand a year. And that's pretty dang good for just an associate's. Yeah. And I know, like I said, from my job hunting, nobody could touch that. So, like I told these politicians that are out of touch reality, dude, I was in one of the best, sweetest jobs in North Georgia with only an $810, $820 a month mortgage. All right. So I'm fiscally responsible. I'm not a dumbass here. I'm in charge of my budget. I'm in charge of my bills. But you get federal taxes, state income taxes, Social Security, Medicare. I was contributing my full 401k. I was contributing my full HSA. That's my personal investments. But outside of that, you take away your mortgage, take away your car insurance, take away gas, groceries, take away everything, your power bill, which is going up, your water bill, which hasn't stopped. Then you got county property taxes coming at the end of the year. Hello. Now you got car tags on your birthday. Every time you turn around, there's a tax waiting for you. So even with me being in one of the most desirable paying positions in North Georgia, I was still struggling every damn month.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the, and it seriously was. It was an eye-opener. For all of my life, I was dreaming of hitting that 100 grand a year. I'm like, dude, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work my ass off. I'm not going to take any vacation. I'm not going to see any family. I'm not going to see any friends. I got to work. I got to do what I got to do to get that number. And once I did, I said, nothing, there's no pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. It's just higher federal taxes.
And if you're not married, it puts you into that higher tax bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so luckily, like I said, I'm strategic too. So I made sure my full 401k, my HSA, I made sure all of my before tax contributions were made. And I made sure I hit the number so that I was literally $5 from going into that next range of taxes.
Oh, yeah, because that matters.
Oh, yeah. It was like something, I think it was 35 grand to 85 grand bring home is that bracket. And boy, I hit like 84 something one year, and I was like, sweet. But like I said, I was in a good career, and even then I saw there was really no hope. I mean, there's really not. If I wanted to retire young, I would have to hit the lottery, which is a scam, but I'd still play it. But you'd either have to hit the lottery or
hit crypto.
You'd have to get lucky somehow, and those chances are very, very slim. So when ChatGPT came out, and I said I was working there at Wrigley's, ChatGPT came out, and then I was asking it. I said, how can I make $1 million legally, quickly, fast? And it came up with all the generic BS ideas. It said, come up with an invention that could be trendy, come up with a song, come up with all generic ideas that I'm like, dude, you're not helping me here. I'm wanting to get rich tomorrow. Like, give me something with something I can put some action to and put it into a plan tomorrow. And it kept telling me what all of my investing books told me years ago was, you need to start a business. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of risk. That's a lot of liability, man. That takes a lot of money, a lot of capital, a lot of time, work. And I don't even know I don't even know what business to start. And I literally said that to ChatGPT, and it is the one that said, give me your resume. So I uploaded my resume to ChatGPT, and it said that the answer is clear here. And I was like, what do you mean? And it said, you should start Redesign MFG, a 24/7 industrial support center that provides technical skills, parts, labor. And I was like, wait a minute, because it's essentially everything that I was doing at Wrigley's. It is exactly everything I was doing at Wrigley's in that role.
They just farm it out to you.
Yeah, but I don't do any work with Wrigley's or for Wrigley's. Right. But it was basically my role that I was doing at Wrigley's, but do it for all these factories around here. And just driving around here, hell, you can throw a rock out any window and hit a factory. And there's thousands of factories around here. And when COVID hit, we already saw the supply chain taking a toll. And because like I said, we're running 24/7 operations at Wrigley's. We were the supply chain. I mean, we are the top of the food chain. Like I said, we're a $1.3 billion a year industry right there in Hall County. Our suppliers, our vendors, we need something. People are bending over to get it to us.
Yeah.
At the same time, those prices, because we're Mars, they know we'd pay for it. So, say a phone that's $1,000 for me and you, they're going to charge Wrigley's $1,500. Now, there's more to it than just that. It's not just because we know they got billions. Well, they go on a net 90 term. So I deliver this to them. I send them the packing slip and the invoice. I don't get paid until 90 days later.
Yeah, it's 45 to 90 days. Yeah.
Yep. So that's why a lot of people tack on that additional price.
Well, you've got to.
Yeah, I get it. However, once COVID hit, it was like the Wild West, and everybody saw that as a golden opportunity. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy, but COVID, I'm not gonna say, COVID was a scam. None of that. COVID was real, but the amount of people that took advantage of it and monetized off that situation is unreal, because we still haven't recovered from that. We really haven't. Like I said, I am the supply chain, and the only reason I'm successful is because there's still so many greedy people out here that are still charging double, triple what it should cost. And their reasoning behind it is because, it's a 8 to 12 week lead time, and supply chain is damaged. You better do this now for $2,000 now, because if you don't, it's not going to be here tomorrow. They use the scare tactics.
No, they do.
Right.
And the same thing happened in the residential roofing industry when I owned my construction company. Same roof you're paying $5,000 for back then, they're charging $20,000 for now. And you can still get it done for $5,000 or $6,000, because asphalt shingles and stuff's based on the price of petroleum. It's not based on anything else.
Dang.
And And these people are just scamming these people.
Oh yeah.
No, it's cost $20,000 to get your roof done now. Hell no, don't mind if you shop it around.
Yeah. And see, like I said, back then I was over my budget, my maintenance budget.
Right.
And every year I could, if you wanted me to come within $1,000 of our $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 budget, I could come within $1,000. And they're like, how in the hell? It's easy because I plan for it. I know what our monthly expenses are. I know our standard belts, standard oils, filters. I know what's required every single month. Then I also know roughly what comes up in unexpected breakdowns. 20% you need to allocate for a random bearing failure that causes downtime. And then, so you've got your recurring purchases, which I would plan for. Then I would put extra aside for my emergency. And then too, since we were net 90, I would make sure before we got to August, I would make sure we knew exactly where we stood. That way we'd spend whatever we wanted to in September. It would hit our budget that calendar year.
Right.
See, that's important. A lot of other leaders were still spending 10, 20, 30 grand on projects in November and December. And I'm like, dude, you're already going to start off the next fiscal year 30 grand in the hole.
And that matters in the government big time.
Yeah, it matters everywhere.
You got to know where your fiscal year begins and ends.
Yeah, and you got to be strategic about it because you don't want to leave too much on the table because then they will allocate it somewhere else.
Well, and that's what makes us so mad here, and you're going to run into it too if you become mayor. The Board of Education, the commissioners did a good job, but the Board of Education, they knew that this 3% increase thing was SB 581 and all that was going to hit. They just kept spending and spending, and they increased their budget by $40 or $50 million this year, knowing that the revenue is going to be cut back. And they just they had no foresight, or they just didn't give a rip.
It's like the people, some of the people that are in charge of this, making these decisions, like you're almost throwing other humans under the bus, like screw them, I'm out for myself. But you're using taxpayer money, which is literally everybody that lives around you, your community, and like what happens when that community deteriorates because folks can't afford your BS anymore.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah. And see, when we were there at Wrigley's, we saw, like I said, we saw the pricing going up. We saw the lead times get longer. And all of us in our circle, I ain't saying the higher up circle, but all of us in the upper leadership teams, every one of us saw the hits that we were taking, because we knew the prices that were stable over the years, $1,200, $1,200, $2,500, it raises red flags. And that's what a lot of these vendors don't realize is it's not just a quick credit card. Okay, we got them. We made our profit. No, when it exceeds a certain dollar amount, sometimes it's as low as 500. Different factories have different trigger levels. But if you exceed a certain dollar amount or a certain downtime time frame, it raises red flags. And you start having continuous improvement engineers looking into it. Hey, how can we reduce the cost? How can we save time? So it brings attention to it. So all of us in the upper leadership teams, we said, man, if one of us that were highly technical, knew what we were doing, knows the corporate structure, corporate payouts, AP, accounts receivable, all that, if we knew all that and started our own supply house with the amount of factories around here, dude, you would be set.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, ChatGPT came out and it kept saying, do your own business. And then when it said redesign manufacturing, I was like, damn, it combined my last name. We are redesigning manufacturing by making it better and turn it. Yeah. I was like, dude, this is brilliant.
Yeah, that's built all in. That's nice.
I was like, dude, that is freaking genius. I was like, I love that plan. I was like, I wish I thought of that. And I was like, but how do I make that a reality? And dude, ChatGPT, man, it spit it out into 6 steps. It said, state of Georgia, get your LLC, go to town of Braselton, get your license, get your federal EIN number, get your Georgia sales and use tax number. I mean, it told me everything. It suggested to me, it said, go hire you a reputable CPA and a reputable business attorney. It said, those are the only 2 individuals you'll need is a CPA and a business attorney.
Mm-hmm.
It said, you can still use me for a baseline, but for your details,
right,
refer to them. So I do. I've got a good CPA downtown Gainesville there. And, the more I started digging into it, I got my license, showed up in the mail, and I was like, this sounds really good. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to explore this. I was like, because there's no other opportunities in Hall County with my, just my associates and working at Wrigley's. I'm like, I can't become an engineer. I can't do anything, move up away from Wrigley's. Like, let's do it. Now, I'll be transparent again. I had I was one of the last years to receive a pension package at Wrigley's. So when I got in at 2016, I was eligible for the B plan pension, which is not a 401k. I had my 401k too, but the B plan pension, Mars would put 5% of their money. This was not 401k, but they would put 5% of whatever your gross was into its own retirement pension plan. Well, I was planning on that bad boy. Like I said, I stayed there from 2016 to 2023. And when I left, I'm sure I can find the check somewhere. When I left, that pension check was on the dot $50,000, like $50,004. And God dang it, federal right off the bat gets their 10 grand. I know the numbers. It's easy.
yeah,
They immediately got their 10 grand. I'm like, shit. So I get a check for 40 grand. And then Georgia, they came after me 2 or 3 times for that one check. And I'm like, I've already paid you twice. And the state of Georgia was still coming back for income tax. I'm like, dude, I'm making no money.
that's
Like,
what they do.
They got every bit of it.
Yeah,
But not every bit of that 40 grand. But I knew with the 40 grand I had, like I said, I've got an 800. Well, when I got my house in 2016, it was 820 a month.
right.
Now it's well over 1,000 just from Jackson County property taxes alone.
Yeah,
Not just my interest has gone down. My principal has gone down. All of those have gone down. So it's not just a 200-300 increase. No, it should be a decrease as we pay over time. But because of property taxes, my damn mortgage.
Well, your insurance too, I would assume.
Yeah.
2020 insurance has gone up. So.
oh yeah,
The premiums go up with it, but still, it's the taxes go up more than anything.
Yeah.
And so I was rocking and rolling. Like I said, I had that $40,000 check. I knew I could live off of that for 2 years. If I planned it out right, I knew I could live off of that for 2 years. And then everything I did with my business, anything, because I was focusing on those net 90, net 30, 60 accounts, the corporate customers, because that was my industry. That's my playing field. That's what I was going for. That way, when I finish projects, weld stuff up, fabricate sheet metal, I can deliver it. I can afford to wait 90 days.
right.
And I knew if I did not touch that, then hopefully I could build something successful. And like I said, I've told everybody, I said, dude, business ownership sucks. I said, it does. I mean, yes, it's got.
You also get a lot of the write-offs and the tax code essentially is just written for business owners. So
yeah, I mean, but it's not the.
And it's still not great.
It's not the Elon Musk picture that everybody sees,
No.
Walking around on Today's Show smoking a joint with fucking Joe Rogan or nothing. No, I mean, you're working just as many hours as he is.
Mm-hmm.
Elon talking about I work 20 hours a day. I've done 48. I've done 72 straight. Like, And I'm no multi-billionaire, and I probably never will be. But I mean, I know many small business owners put in the time and work. Don't even get me started with restaurant owners.
Oh yeah,
It's a whole nother animal that I will never own because of the amount of work it requires for very little profit.
Yep.
I mean, restaurants are a hard business to run.
Oh yeah. So
I mean, I started pushing real hard. I went, and I'll tell all y'all, I went to all of my Braselton factories first, because I know some voters, and this is important, some voters might say, oh, he's got a business that caters to the commercial, industrial. Yes, I do. But let me be honest with you. I've only got one customer in the town of Braselton, and they don't even pay on time. So I very rarely go to them. I mean, their net 45 turns into like a net 6 months or 9 months. And I'm not bullshitting you. So I'm not going to put 10, 20 grand into their spare parts if I'm not going to see that for up to a year. It's not worth it to me. I've got people that'll pay net 30. They're in Lawrenceville, they're in Cumming, they're in Duluth. So I've got to drive outside of Braselton. Now, when I started, I knocked on every door, every factory door in Braselton. I went to Carter's, Oshkosh, FedEx, Uline, Duck Yang, who supplies SK battery. I didn't know that, but yeah, it's a South Korean company, supplies SK battery. Mizuno, Kohler Lighting, Petco. There's a lot of warehouses. And that's what it is. It's mostly warehouses. There's not any manufacturing. The only manufacturers I know of is Dayton Superior, which I told you that's one of my customers. They're the only manufacturer that I know of, and they make like steel strips that go into cement foundations and stuff.
Right.
But I don't know. Let me think for a second. For the most part, all of our large buildings here are just distribution centers and warehouses. We've got Amazon, and up the road I think that's technically Houston. It's a Williams-Sonoma. And we've got Haverty's. We used to have Mayfield. Now, I don't know. I know the Mayfield, the museum touring area where you could get free ice cream. I know that part shut down. But the Mayfield building and tanks, silos, dairy silos, they're still there. I think that's one of the few manufacturers we actually have here. Right. Everything else is just warehouse and distribution, which I could sell to them too. But not one of them has ever reached out to me after I dropped off my info. So I was like, all right, screw y'all. If you don't see the potential in my resources, I'll go to another customer. And I haven't had any worry. I don't deal with any of these people. But so back to the whole reason we're here for the podcast. So 4 months of starting my business on my own, left Wrigley's, did the business full time. 100%. No investors, no Shark Tank, nothing like that. Just me on my own with my $40,000 check. Let's see what we can do. I went and got business cards made. I went and got flyers made. I invested like $200 or $300. I had my $4,500 2001 Lexus daily driver as my only driver. I was carrying parts around in the back seat. Sometimes big, heavy, dusty, beat up parts. I'd load it up in my leather seats and the Lexus. I'm like, man, it better be worth it someday. And it is good. I mean, I scrapped up from nothing, and for 4 months I had 0 sales, and that was disheartening, man. I mean, I was trying to get creative on Facebook. I'm trying to get creative with my sales flyers. I'm making sure, consumables that these places use, I can get them cheaper and better, and nobody cared. They're like, we don't know who the hell you are. We've been getting from the big dogs for years. Like, sorry, beat it. I went over there to the Gainesville airport. There's a lot of businesses there. Right. There's Ace Hardware Distribution Center.
It sounds like you need a sales team.
Now I do. Yeah. Back then, I was trying to figure out what my sales were. And that was the problem too, is I didn't have a good sales pitch, because back then I was just offering everything. I was like, I do everything maintenance related. And they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, everything. And it was just too vague for my customers. Now I've narrowed it down. I just do parts. I just sell parts. If you need parts, I got parts. And everybody can, can you get this part? And I'm like, yep, I got you. It's easy. It's less effort for me. Now I do the machining too and welding. So I've got a machine shop in my basement, a mill and a lathe and my welder, and I'll go down there and run it right now if I had to. And the main reason I had to get those in home was just the service aspect. Because
Did you pull permits for those?
It's a no. Come on, man. It's 110.
Yeah.
You plug it into the wall. It's in my basement. It's a welder from Harbor Freight too. It's not like I got a huge industrial machine shop in my. I don't have like an outbuilding or nothing. It's literally in my basement.
That's funny.
But no, I do that just in case there's emergency repairs.
Right.
Because
that happens, yeah.
Yeah, because I would work with machine shops, and because it's only me, I'm an owner operator, and I figured I can work with the machine shops. That way they can do most of the work. I'm not gonna lie, they're doing all the work, and I'm just really a middleman salesman. But that way everybody gets a piece of the pie. Now I take on the risk and liability of not getting paid, but I know all my customers are paid, so I pay the machine shop up front directly. I wait my 90 days. I get paid later. Everybody wins.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I need the equipment in-house for me is, like I said, after 4 p.m., if there's a breakdown, all your traditional machine shops, they're already going home. And these guys are old school. They don't care who you are. They don't care if it's a $10,000 repair. They're like, I'll be there at 8 a.m. And I ain't coming in. I'm already eating steak, brother. Like, sorry. Like, damn. And I found myself in that situation many times early on. That first year, my dude, okay, I started identifying which machines I needed more frequently. I was like, all right, I need to get a mill first. I already had everything else. I had a drill press, bandsaw, welder. Like, yep, I need a mill, CNC mill. Then I need a lathe. And I've got all those. So now I can handle everything. Now, to the politics. That's the main reason we're here. Once I started getting my feet wet with a business, I started seeing business license renewals, late fees, and the first year, late fees went from just $50 late fee to a $500 late fee. So if you are in Braselton and you have a business, and your license, and I know the law, I've quoted it so many times now. If your business license expires, now I'm gonna have to look it up. I forgot, but it's I think it's December 1st. If you haven't filed paperwork to renew it, it's a $50 late fee. After December 31st, it's the $450 for a total of $500 for a late fee. And I told him, I said, a brand new one is $95. I said, so why am I going to pay $500 when I can just get another brand new one for $95?
I just had to check my business license to see when it expires.
You need to. They'll get you. And that's the thing. I'm like, where's the warm, welcoming, we want your business in our town? I said, 'cause that's not how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like if I ain't following your orders and paying it on time, by God, we're going to charge you out the butt or you get lost.
So for a town as big as Braselton, what did you say? Less than 20,000 folks?
Yep.
How big could the government possibly be over there? How big are we talking? Like, are we talking? Clearly not Hall County's government-sized building.
No.
What about Gainesville City?
No, it's smaller than Gainesville City as far as our building. We've still got our old school traditional town hall, and it's nice. It's historic.
Yeah. How many staff? What's the count on roughly?
Full-time staff? Ooh, because we've got a planning full-time staff. I would say 12 to 14. That includes a town manager, planning, reception.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Not including the council members or mayor or anything.
Yes.
Full-time.
So what is causing increases in the property taxes and stuff in Braselton?
What's that?
So what's exactly causing the higher property taxes, and I mean, even the late business fee, you got a handful of businesses, and when I say handful, I'm talking about comparing it, relatively speaking, right? You got a handful of businesses compared to, let's just say, a city of Gainesville or Hall County
or Duluth or something. Yeah.
Right. So what, why are we going from 50 to 500, like a 10x in your late fee? And then why are property taxes going up? I mean, I get property taxes are going up because of inflation as a whole, but make that make sense. You don't have that big of a government.
Yep. So it's a good point. And that really is the beginning of my journey into this. So when I started seeing things like that, I was asking those questions. I was like, why? What is going on here? And I started looking into it, mainly on Google, what other municipalities are doing, late fees. And I was asking other business owners, Flowery Branch, I'm like, man, what's it look like for y'all? And a lot of the North Georgia owners were feeling the same, not mistreatment, but they just weren't feeling welcomed anymore for small businesses.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're pushing small businesses away from us.
I can vouch for that.
Well, I don't have it. You got less than 20 full-time employees. Don't have water treatment plants. Don't have anything. I mean,
we got a water plant.
You do? Is it owned by Braselton, or do you lease it from?
It's owned by Braselton.
Is it owned by Braselton? Okay.
Yep. And I didn't know that. I didn't know this till I joined the Citizens Academy. I thought we were pulling most of our water from the near. Most of our water pulled from
Oconee?
No. Wells.
Oh, okay.
We've got a lot of pump houses here with a lot of water. You see all the water towers? That's all it is they're just pumping from the wells below them. And
interesting little fact of Braselton.
Yeah, we've got our own. and that's again the goofy side of politics is water. Holy crap, man! I didn't know that. I did, but that's such a bartering tool. You start talking about water, and you better make sure your doors are locked, and especially with these municipalities, because we got an agreement with Winder, and Winder's got an agreement with Loganville, and if they go out, we get it from this creek. It's like, it's like a good old boy system, dude. I'm telling you, it gets weird.
Yeah. Wow.
You start talking about who's in charge of what, and who allows how many gallons per day, and what rates, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I get it needs to be ran like a business, but they forgetting who they're serving, and that's the people. And they do not have they won't bat an eye to shut your water off if you've been a resident for 10 years and boy, you missed that one payment.
You're 2 days late, then they put a lock on it.
Oh yeah. It's
dry. They ain't got to put a lock on it. They just ride by with that little machine and shut you down.
Yep. You can't take no shower. You can't boil no water. You can't do nothing. Don't go to work.
That happened to us here. My mom, when she started getting dementia, she forgot to pay the water bill. And we just thought they was working on the water line one day and didn't have no water. And we had to wait till the next morning because they wouldn't come by here and click the button to turn it back on after I paid it everything in full right then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
They've been with the Gainesville City Water for like 60 years and never missed a payment.
Yeah. And see, like you say, we were talking about the business license. I started Googling it, and then somehow I started working my way into it. It led me into groups on Facebook, and it brought me into Concerned Citizens of Hall County. It brought me to North Georgia Advocate. It brought me to Hall County Inform. Don't Gwinnett My Jackson is another decent one.
Right.
But I started seeing a lot of these local watchdog groups.
Yeah.
And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, this is interesting. And I was like, hell, I got time. Let me explore this. And man, I mean, the first night, you know.
Get down a rabbit hole quick, can't you?
Heck yeah, you do. And I mean, as soon as I went into that first group, just the amount of corruption on the local level.
And I'm kind of wondering how long it's going to take for some of these for these certain families and certain individuals that have kind of held on to power for so long to start sending cease and desist letters to Meta and these people to be like, hey, these folks are causing a lot of issues in our county or in our city.
Yeah,
you need to shut this thing down because there's a lot of misinformation from these residents.
If we get to the right representatives, I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad people like you are getting involved, and Corey Anderson, and and Tyler Crawford, and
Amanda.
I don't really care about the politics as much as I do that it's just new blood.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, the more I started digging in with these groups and seeing the blatant corruption and just no concern for the people, I was like, holy crap, what is going on? And then I sat there and I was naive. I'm not going to BS either, y'all. I was naive. I said, it ain't happening in my town, not in Braselton. Seriously. I was like, it can't be. We got a great town. I was like, our police officers are great. I've had no issues with town manager. I've had no issues getting my business license. I said the late fee kind of irked me a little bit. I was like, but as far as operation, I was like, I get it. I was like, it's a business. I was like, and I said, there can't be nothing going on in my town. Well, our groups, they started pushing me. They said, you better get your butt in those meetings and see for yourself. And boy, I did.
It's the same for me too. Yeah, I mean, been involved in a few rezonings for myself here and there, but just going through it too with the city of Gainesville, just holy crap, super uninviting. That no, we don't know you, so like, go hire a good old boy lawyer type situation, and then again finding a couple of Facebook groups here and there, seeing local residents being more involved in local politics and actually going to these meetings. Because some of the meetings I went to, there's like one person there. It's the applicant and maybe like one or two people if they're there for like opposition or something like that. But if there's no opposition, there's nobody else really paying attention to it. Right. So it's good that we have this now where everyone can share their concerns.
Oh yeah.
But it's poking the wrong people, but it's poking certain people the wrong way.
Oh yeah, because
it's that way. Yeah, we really need to get it to the point to where they basically need to cover the names up on the top of these applications and just I'd love to see it to where it's based on what you put in front of them instead of who it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it should be a blind.
Well, I mean, but if they did that though, they would still. I feel like the people wouldn't know who these people are. It would the applicant and potential backdoor deals with the commissioner. Those are still happening. Like, hey, we're gonna go and put this in. So that I don't think covering up the names or anything really is going to do much, but having more people show up, more people being involved, more people asking for accountability and stuff. And I've said this for a very long time. I've noticed that since I got involved in politics and kind of keeping an eye, we have zero accountability in this country as a whole when it comes to politicians, and it's been trickling down into our local communities and societies and whatnot.
And if anybody does get punished, they're basically a fall guy.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, groups or not groups, but companies like Facebook have a lot to do with a lot of the polarization that we got going on in this country. But you're also seeing these little local community, watchdog groups pop up.
Oh yeah.
Which is a great thing. You get to connect with people that are also concerned, that are also wanting to hold these people accountable. And I hope I'm not like stepping ahead of too far ahead of myself, but this is what we need as a country is to stop the national level stuff that they constantly feed, whether it's Islamophobia, whether it's the Democrats are doing this or the Republicans are doing this. It's more so like, yo, dude, look at your neighbor. I guarantee you have more in common with this person than you do these asshole politicians in DC. And again, asshole politicians locally now too. So
oh yeah.
Stop. Go out for a walk, meet your neighbors, talk to them. And you'll see they're decent human beings. Majority of people are.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep. And that's the thing. I started, well, like you said, the one person shows up. So those groups started encouraging me, you need to get in there and see what's going on in town hall.
Yeah.
Go to all of these meetings, see what's going on, see for yourself, see if anything feels off, feels suspicious, feels shady. And like I said, the first one I went to was regarding our big festivals downtown. And there's 17,000 residents here, and I think that one only 9 or 10 people showed up. So
that's that's crazy.
For 17,000 people, only 9 people showed up. And then for the whole HB 581 fiasco, I went to all of those discussions and the vote. And I started pushing more for involvement on social media. And I got it up to 12 and then 14. And but still, it was because of the timing. I mean, they set it up to when most working people are on the road or still in the workplace or picking up their kids or getting dinner ready.
Or going to softball games, basketball games.
Yep. And again, that's what I told all of my supporters is they do that for a reason. Because all these decisions and votes that they're making that's impacting our lives that we're not happy about, they're not doing it in front of us. They're doing it at 4 or 5 p.m. when nobody's showing up. And they do their 24-hour notice, say we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. But they do it in one quick email that goes out and nobody really pays attention to.
Yeah.
And then that's meeting.
One thing I will give Gwinnett, they do have their meetings at like 7 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're the only one around here that does.
And see, that's the thing too, is I would put a poll out there first. Let's get a majority vote. What time do y'all eat? We'll even poll what time works best for the community. And even if it's 6 or 7, I would still push to have it streamed, recorded, save it on YouTube, save it on Facebook, and don't do like Hall County where they limit comments or anything. This is America. If your people have open comments and concerns, let them voice them. I would do the same with City of Braselton. Leave our comment section open. Now, I've got a lot of pushback from all of our council members. You do not want to live stream and record these meetings. I'm a Georgia boy. Guess what? Hell yeah, I do, especially now.
That's full transparency, man.
If you're going to tell me I do not want to record these, oh, yeah, now I do.
More of a reason to record it.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2025. Like, all of these meetings need to be way more. Like, I mean, Hall County meetings, if I can't attend, I try to watch them. Oh, my God. The quality of the video. You can barely hear some of these guys when they're talking, and you can't see.
Board of Education. It's terrible.
Yeah, and they know what they're doing. They're doing it on purpose.
Okay, so the ones that are
and during important parts of the meeting, the microphones always malfunction.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
And I would like to see, you or whoever gets in, you're getting in at a good time where your town's still controllable.
Yep.
Before it gets too big.
Yep.
You're getting all these ideas out there, even if you don't win this time, it gets the ball rolling and gets more people. That's the key to all this.
Oh yeah. Yep. Get it started. And I mean, I hope I do get in because I will. Like I said, first day we're gonna start right away. Yeah. Like I said, we're paying a guy a full-time position, an IT professional. Guess what he's going to be doing in our first town hall? I don't care if he's out there with his camera phone with his charger plugged into the wall. You get your damn FaceTime streaming right now. Start recording. Put up the announcement. We're live. We're recording. And even if it is at an awkward time because you got to look at it too. We're in Braselton. We got the hospital here. We got Northeast Georgia, Braselton. So, I mean, you got to think too. You got a lot of first responders with 12-hour shifts. I get it. Wrigley's manufacturing, they're 12-hour shifts. So, I mean, even if I do an ideal meeting time at 6, 7 p.m., I know they rotate. I know not everybody's going to be able to make it. So these big decisions that affect people's lives, like I said, the permanent developments that will go up for years, some of these more important decisions, don't need to be made so abruptly without consideration.
No.
And they don't give a damn. They'll just vote on it and say, yep, it's done.
Or they'll table it for 2 weeks and then
wait for nobody to show up and then vote on it.
Yeah, and before we have to wrap this up, I mean, I know we're getting into a lot of stuff here. What are your goals? And I know we all know what the problems are.
Yep.
What are some of your key solutions that you want to implement?
So
other than getting more people involved, I mean, there's got to be immediate problems you've got to address now.
Yep. So the people involved in recording, streaming, that's a surefire win that everybody's on board with, except for the people in charge. But if I get above them, sorry, brother, we're under surveillance now. So that's an easy win. The next two are the ones that really matter the most, and it's the 2 T's. It's traffic and taxes. Traffic here is, I'll say, it's almost an epidemic. We're having fatalities here every week, and we've seen the family of 8 pass away on 85 not long ago.
Right.
And the entire time I've lived here, I've seen developments go up and buildings go up, every month. New warehouses, new restaurants. But we ain't seen nothing going up for traffic. We're not seeing new, intersections, and we're not seeing new red lights on 124 and Jesse Chronic where it's needed, where there's multiple wrecks. We're not seeing that going up. We're not seeing attention to the infrastructure to meet the demand of the developments. And people have been preaching that for 20 years, 30 years. Don't build and expect the DOT to catch up to you.
No.
But that is the Georgia model. We build it first, then hopefully DOT will see all of our safety issues and put us on that list.
Yeah, enough people have to die
I know. And that's what they do. And if you look at my 2 competitors, that's basically their position on fighting traffic is we're gonna wait on the DOT. All right.
You can't do that.
And that's the basic, that's the standard politician answer. I'll work with my local DOT and here's the thing. My grandfather retired from the Georgia DOT, from the state in Atlanta, like in the big boy office, but he also started out at District 1 here in Gainesville. So I know how they work within local municipalities. I know it's a buddy system. It kind of is. And like Viral said, you got to present data of, safety statistics that we've had this many fatalities. We need some attention at this intersection. You've got to do that. But however, I brought a new plan that will combat traffic. And so far, it's been catching a lot of momentum. And a lot of people, a lot of citizens are in favor of it. And even both of my competitors, both of them have said, if either of them get elected, they want to bring me on as an advisor or consultant to make a lot of these happen. And what I plan on doing, again, we're paying an IT guy here for the town of Braselton. Okay. Open up Excel, get you a blank spreadsheet started, put you a list of all of our businesses, get a head count. Any business that's got 15 or more employees, we need to reach out to HR managers. Reach out to HR managers or plant managers at the medical facility, the FedEx, all these warehouses, Amazon. Reach out to them, get an employee head count, and we need to see their shift times. What's your shift schedules? Because what's happening is I drive through these streets every day, and I've told Access WDUN, I've told all of them, it really starts heating up between 1 p.m. to about 7 p.m. Sometimes they'll linger on to 8 p.m., but prime time is really between 1 to 7 p.m. And if you watch, it's the 400 and 500 at a time that are leaving FedEx at one shot. And at the same time, the factory across the street, Carter's, Oshkosh, they're letting out 300-400 at the same time. And down the road, the hospital, they're getting off the shift, and there's 50 coming out at that time. So what you've got is 2 main roads in Braselton. It's 53 Winder Highway and 211 Old Winder Highway. and you've got thousands of people hitting onto these 2-lane roads all at the same time to try and get to 85. And it doesn't work. And dude, it'll take me, I live less than 1.3 miles from 85. It will take me 25 to 35 minutes to get to 85. And I'll be sitting here screaming. I told people at the forums, I said, I'm going to give you a fair warning now. I said, if there's a Fox 5 article that newly elected mayor of Braselton was caught road raging and cussing, I said, that's me. I'm not going to BS you. I mean, that was me cussing. I said, because it shouldn't take 35 minutes to go literally around the corner. And like I said, I've seen it. I see the uniforms. I know where they're coming from. And it's not it does. It drives the economy. I get it. Those people shop here. They buy gas here. They buy food here. I'm not saying, oh, you need to be banished to Winder. I mean, that would suck, but I ain't saying that. But I mean, if we could do what we did during COVID, because like I said, we've done this. I saw it in action at Wrigley's. We start staggering shift times. So that way we'll go to each of these factories. Like I say, anyone with 15 or more, get a head count, and we need to start staggering those into shift times. So that way we can do 15 at a time, 20 at a time, every 15-minute increments. And we need to coordinate that with all of their neighboring factories. So that way it's not that huge dump of traffic all onto these roads. And I know everybody says, oh, that sounds good on paper. Good luck convincing these corporate, these billion-dollar corporations. Well, guess what? I deal with these, multi-billion-dollar corporations every day. I'm not afraid of them, and it's not about negotiation or tactics. It's about efficiency, and I can sell it to them in that manner because you don't want 500 associates standing at your time clock. You don't want 500 associates going to break at the same time. I mean, it does slow down your process. We've seen when you stagger shift times and you stagger, that flow of traffic, it does increase efficiency for those factories. So that's how I'm going to try and sell it to them. And I think I can make a decent difference. Like I said, it's not, and I've told everybody, I said, I'm not pushing this like I'm going to come out and part the Red Sea here, right? I mean, I'm not going to come out and 53 is going to be like the COVID days where there's nobody out here at all. No, but it's a good step in the right direction. And if we can show with the statistics and the data that we've collected with the RECs, if we can show a reduction in that and an increase in safety, then we can use that as a model to send to Flowery Branch to say, hey, Wrigley's, and they're not staggered anymore. And hey, y'all remember me? Used to work here. But we can push this model onto our neighboring cities because, again, I know it's not just Braselton that's suffering. It's all of North Georgia that's dealing with it. Hell, Gainesville's the same way.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, you can't drive up Jesse Jewell after 5 p.m. without, looking in your mirror, you're about to get run over. I mean, Oakwood, all these Flowery Branch.
Over here on my side of town on White Sulphur Road, and you got the butter plants and Leon Farmer, and that's before the inland port's being built.
Oh, I know. And
and it's just
that's gonna make it.
We've got to have some type of system.
We need to have some type of system, and I think staggering it is a start. And I think
they're building that new hotel for people to just be like, screw it, I'm just gonna stay here tonight on White Sulphur.
Oh, that one on White Sulphur?
Yeah.
You know what kills you about that is the Patels family that built the hotels on Brownsbridge Road.
Yeah.
They were going to build some down below White Sulphur where it was graded for a big open air shopping complex, kind of like Margaritaville or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the recession hit in 2008, they never built it. And Dunkin' Donuts is down there now. They denied them the hotels down there. And then they're going to turn around and let Will Hite and Jeff Payne and them build up here next to Kroger, where they got to build retaining walls and backfill all that land that's right next to the train tracks. And Pine Valley Road and White Sulphur can't even handle the traffic that's on it right now.
Well, they got to
out there in
get
the
those.
middle of nowhere, a mile away, a half a mile away, to where everything would be fine.
Yeah, but they need the hotels to get those 40% of the outside residents for the SPLOST.
Oh yeah.
You gotta house those outside residents somewhere.
But see that I'll try and make it quicker for y'all. I know he's got a baby back there screaming. But no, I mean, I think as far as traffic, I think that's the first plan in many years I've actually.
What about holding these developers to where Hall County refuses to do it? Why not make the developers widen the roads where they put these subdivisions in?
Oh, I'd agree.
Put in sidewalks, put in things like that. And Hall County, they say they're going to make them, but the developers dilly-dally around and it doesn't get done quick enough. Then the county comes back in and they finally give in and they'll agree to pay half of it or 3/4 of it just so they can get the stuff done.
Yep. No, I mean, that would be a good step too. And not only that, but also the warehouses and distribution centers. So here I live behind the truck stop. I live behind the Pilot gas station on Winder Highway. And we deal with a lot of 18-wheeler traffic. I mean, a lot. And I'm not villainizing the 18-wheeler drivers. I'm not. They move the product across the country. They do. And they are essential. We need them. And I'm not taking anything away from that. But it is the one or two that are careless and aren't paying attention that causes a fatality. That gives most of them a bad look. And they all lash out and they say, well, there's regulations about how many hours a day we can drive. I understand that. We got to pull over immediately and, we can't drive any more hours. We got to stop. We got to rest. I get it. With that being the case, how about all these new warehouses and distribution centers allocate a small section for parking and resting?
Yeah.
So that way they're not blocking our private roads and our public roads and, restaurants and gas stations. Because that's what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, or just like pulling off on the side of the highway.
Yeah, and they do. They pull off on the on-ramp here. And they'll be blocking all this on-ramp traffic. And it's a safety issue. And then
even if they got those cones out, I mean, you can't see them. You get up on them, especially if it's foggy or raining or.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get their struggle. I mean, legally, they can't keep driving or they'll lose their CDL. They'll get points. I get it. They got to pull over and stop. But we got to take some accountability. Not we, but the ones that have allowed all this development needs to take some accountability and say, oh, yeah, we did allow all these distribution centers and warehouses without logistically looking at the next rest area. They did that. It's not the truck drivers that were responsible for that. I mean, the ones that are abiding by the law, they're pulling over as they're supposed to, but they have nowhere to go. So, yeah, I think, like I said, if we're going to allow these warehouses and distribution centers, then you need to allocate some space.
I think it's part of like the sustainable growth and like responsible growth that comes with it, with asking for stuff like this. Absolutely.
At least put in turn lanes where they need to be put in. I mean, and the chicken lanes aren't any good anymore, the way people drive, the lane, turn lanes in the middle. You get idiots pulling in there and just block them up, or they drive down them for a half a mile, or,
Yeah.
You got to use alternate methods. And I know it gets tricky, but these businesses and developers, they need to start paying their fair share. And I hate that word fair share, but they need to start paying for road improvements and infrastructure.
That ends up cutting into commission checks for certain commissioners.
Yeah, you got that right.
Well,
can't do that.
Since you brought that up, so that was the last main topic we were going to talk about, though, is the property taxes. And town of Braselton right now, the town of Braselton, we do not have a city property tax. And we're one of a handful left in Georgia. And if I get in, I hope that I can make it to where we're the last town, that remains a tax-free city.
I think Lula don't have it either, but they're talking about it.
I know Mulberry also, and they say the way they can get away with it is by having fines or fees instead. And I'm like, well, that's just, dude, you can't put a dang dress on
this long without fees or without property taxes. Like, what are you doing? Are you just getting too big now and you need
who's
to
that?
start taxing people? No, not when I say you, I'm talking about what
Yeah,
Chris was saying, like Lula or Braselton or Mulberry, whatever, the places you're talking about. Is like what have you been doing this whole time? You've been running without it. So why is it a certain, why is it a need all of a sudden?
So, and there's a few reasons for that, and it gets muddy, and I'm sure you can imagine it gets muddy. So if you look at town of Braselton's budget and where it's getting spent, you'll start to realize, okay, why is the tourism department getting almost as much as the police department? And I get tourism brings revenue to the town, but one reason the police department is asking for a property tax, and it's I looked at it with them, and here's the thing: nobody else is doing this. I'll drive out here after we get done. I'll go up to Racetrack gas station. I'll go to Quick Trip. I'll look for there's only 22 Braselton officers. I'll go find them, and they know me now. Every time I pull up, they're probably like, "Oh, fuck this guy again." And I do. I roll up, and they're like, "Oh shit!" But now they're cool with me, and they're good guys. And I told them, I said, I need to hear your concerns. Property tax or no? And they said, "Hell yes, we need a property tax." I said, "Why, dude?" I said, "Don't take me to jail for assaulting an officer, because I'm about to." I was like, "Why do you want property tax?" And they've got a valid response. They said, because if you look at the neighboring jurisdictions, we're about $6 an hour under everyone else. And I said, that's BS. I said, that is. I said, because for 22 of you, $6 an hour is on just straight time. And I'm not including overtime, but just $6 an hour, 22 of you, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. It's only like $347,000. So, I mean, you account a little bit extra for overtime, say $500,000-$600,000 per year that you will need. You tell me we can't pull that from the
see, and like stuff like this, so like police department, fire department, what else? Like
water,
the water, sure. And it's like the essentials. Like people don't mind property taxes for these items. It's the BS wasteful spending.
Like
that
a
happens.
$9 million farm and a $2.1 million
that's
they got an electric vehicle lab at Flowery Branch High School. Now, why the hell you got an electric vehicle lab at a high school?
We see property or school taxes constantly go up, and we're constantly being told we don't have enough money to pay these teachers, and these teachers are literally having to go on Facebook and social media begging for people
to help them just buy
to help them
to
fill out their school, like for their classrooms. Where
and that's what they do. That's what they do, though. They pull back on our essential services that would pull on our heartstrings that we know we need, and they spend the money that they've been allocated. They spend it on, like you said, these goofy projects that don't have an impact on everybody's daily life. It's pet projects. It's beautification. It's I get it. You've got
to say they did something.
They've got their
for the beautification stuff. When you got people literally begging on social media to feel like, I mean, and when I say people, I'm talking about teachers.
I know
these are the folks that are supposed to be teaching your kids.
But that's why they do it, so that they can show these goofy videos of a woman in a park.
Let them focus on teaching their kids and not begging people to fill out their classroom with supplies. That's such bullshit.
Yeah, no, that is. That's 110%.
It is, but they'll tell you without your SPLOST dollars, though, this is all going away.
That's bullcrap. Look at Lula. Why in the hell does Lula need a town manager and an assistant town manager?
Oh yeah,
they've got 14 people in Lula. I mean, I'm being facetious, but come on.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And two, we talked about those numbers. Lula, what was it? Since 2019, Lula took in $3.5 million in SPLOST and only spent 347 of it.
Well, I talked
to
people about that, but they've had to hold that money away because they're waiting on response from the railroads to where they can fix that main road that goes through town. They can't spend it because when the railroads finally approve it, they have to have the money
as backup collateral.
Yeah, they have to have the money to be able to spend it right then.
So they've been banking that for that project.
Yes, they're banking it for that project.
Well, see, they need to be clear about that because you got all these watchdogs that are saying,
well, Chris Llewellyn, well,
I know.
CCG, they get kind of wonky sometimes on some of their, but the Chris Llewellyn who's running for council up there, he's on now, he broke it down for them in a post, and they didn't nobody want to believe, no, you're just pigeonholed. Well, when it takes the railroads, which are subsidized by the federal government, years to approve a project, that's what you have to do. They can put that money in like escrow and let it draw interest, and you'll have a bigger, and they may not even have enough money to finish the project with inflation the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, that's why all these railroads are all over the place. The railroad tracks, they're pitiful. I mean, they're rough. They're not maintained. That's because they can't get the railroads to approve anything. And they have to pigeonhole that money so they can have it when they do say, okay, let's fix this road.
And see, that makes sense though. But like I've told even our current administration, I said when you put that clarity on it, it's easier on the citizens to take.
Yes, no doubt.
But that's the thing though. Nobody wants to be transparent about it all. They don't
want to understand like when local people turn into like your DC type politicians where nobody wants to take up responsibility or speak the truth and take a little bit of heat. You're in office for a reason.
Yeah.
Be the bad guy for a change and tell the people what it is and don't be so scared about not getting reelected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
honesty.
Like case in point, does Braselton have a town manager?
Yes.
A city manager? I mean,
yep.
You think about it, why can't the city council handle the business of a town that size?
Well, and see, so I was thinking
I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah,
a lot of people are thinking, you're paying him $250,000 for what?
Yep. I know she ain't up there. She ain't.
No,
like
I'm just saying that case in point,
But and that is one thing too, is I'm not going to come. I've told people I'm not going to come in and doge the whole, town administration.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. I want to go in there and see how it operates, see for myself where the gaps are, see where there's opportunities. But from everyone too that I've talked to, and I've even told her, I said I've canvassed, other municipalities, local ones that know Braselton, and every one of them say our town manager does the job of about 4 or 5 people. So I was like, all right. I was like, well, if I get in, I'm going to give her ass a vacation. I said, seriously, because you can tell she's poor gal. She's overwhelmed right now, man. You can tell she's just not happy. I mean, she looks like how I looked like when I was at Wrigley's. Man, I can see it. And it's not just that. And that is another main reason why I'm running is you see it on all of our town associates and employees. Is you go to talk to any of them, and they all look like they have to think about their response. You know what I mean? Like they're all worried. Yeah. They're all worried that they're not going to say the right political things to the people.
Well, and you shouldn't. That's not the way it should be.
It ain't. And see, so when I started getting involved in all these groups and going to the town halls, there was one particular meeting after the HB 581 vote. We went outside into the parking lot, and that's where our council and mayor said, we'll speak with you outside. So we all ran outside, and 2 elderly women had concerns. They said, if property taxes go up, we're on a fixed income. They said, if you bring property taxes to the city of Braselton and they become out of control, are you going to kick me out of my home? And the dudes turned away and left.
Man, just talk to these people.
They didn't even respond. They didn't even assure them that, they didn't even say yes or no or anything.
These are current city council folks?
Yes. Yep. Got in this big fancy truck and drove off. And a lot of people are telling me that one of these men is a good man, but I have my own opinion on that. And I was like, I don't know, because I've seen the way he walked away from that situation, and I don't see any empathy or care for his people at that point.
Yeah.
But when the mayor did it, and it was mainly the mayor, because they were addressing the mayor. He walked off. Those two women started crying, and dude, it broke me. I mean, cause like I said, I looked at that, as if that was my grandmother, and if she had been living here, contributing to society for all these years, paying taxes and voting for the betterment of her community, and for her to bring up a valid concern about her livelihood to you, and you're gonna just shrug it off like it don't mean nothing to you, like it's just a bug flew on your shoulder, brush it off, and just.
I mean, I feel like it's like a simple, easy response to just say no.
Yeah.
And we're gonna figure out an age exemption to where your property taxes are never gonna be even $1.
There could have been anything that could have been said, but nothing was said.
Nothing was said. Yeah, just walked away.
And the few of us, because there's more than just 3 of us. There's about 12 of us. We were standing there in a parking lot, dumbfounded, with our hands in our pockets, and everybody, the 2 women, what do we do now? And they said, what can we do now? They said, there's nothing we can do. We're screwed. And one man, he says, oh no, they screwed us. They said, they just drove off the property. We are done. And that's when I started putting in Google, when is the next election? And I said it right then. I said, oh shit. And they said, what? I said, November 4th this year. I said, there is something we can do. And they said, what's that? I said, well, I've got connections. You've got connections. You've got connections. I said, all of us are knowledgeable. We're all showing up. We're all paying attention. I said, if all of us can go out into the community and find that one person that we trust that'll fight for us, I said, we can do something this November. I said, so go out and see what you get. Well, a couple of weeks went by. We regathered at the next meeting. And, some people, we were talking, and they said, yeah. They said, I asked a couple people. They said, I don't know anybody else, but no, they can't do it. One guy said he thought about it, but he's retired. He said, I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I would. He said, but I'm not going to do it. And then that's when I said, you know what? I said, if we don't have anybody that we trust, I said, I'll do it. And they said, really? I said, hell yeah. I said, you know what? I said, I'll do it. I said, I'll take on this guy just because of the way he's treating y'all. I said, I don't like just the way he's talking down to us. Like he's a king talking down to the peasants. I said, that's ridiculous. I said, we voted him in, and for y'all to have no compassion whatsoever for the people that got you in there. I said, that's ridiculous.
We got somebody like that at the Board of Commissioners in Hall County right now too.
Oh yeah. Board of Education as well. I mean,
Board of Education too, yeah.
But see, then you add in all the topics we talked about, the property tax issues, traffic. You start talking about our police being underpaid. I mean, you start looking around, and it's like, okay, no, somebody can do a lot better job here.
Well, and one thing you don't want to do is the police chiefs eventually going to have to start policing for profit. And that's one thing you do not want to do.
Well, no, because the cops told me there's a law about that in the 90s. They say
no, there is a law about it, but they get around it. How do you prove it? I mean, it's almost impossible to prove. It's one of them laws that it sounds good,
but it's
I gotta be careful driving through Braselton.
No, because that's the thing. I've told our officers. I said that's why I'm reaching out. It's not why I'm reaching out to them, but it's another reason why I'm reaching out to our officers directly. I said, because they're all good officers. I was like, they're not out here harassing, any young kids. They're not out here harassing any older. They're not harassing anybody. We don't really get any complaints. I've seen them in action. I mean, when we're talking, they get a call, boy, we got to run. I said, they do y'all's thing, and they gone. They respond quick. And like I said, everything I've seen, they're fair. I mean, for a small town, you couldn't ask for You couldn't ask for a more
That's
fair.
that's good to hear. Yeah.
It's
now,
not like
now how does that happen if does Jackson and Barrow and Gwinnett and do any of their officers have any jurisdiction inside Braselton?
Nope. So they can, I believe they can go after warrant arrests and things like that, whatever the sheriff's office. But as far as Braselton city limits, our police run it.
See, Hall County here, they got jurisdiction over everything.
Well,
even, I mean, they usually leave the city to the city, but but they can go in and police anywhere they want. Oakwood, Blair Branch.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure Jackson County Sheriff, and I'm pretty sure any sheriff has a jurisdiction over any municipality within their district.
Yeah, but they usually got gentlemen's agreements, and like Hall County used to never go into Oakwood until they had to fire several guys. They're way short-handed, and now Hall County handles most of their calls at nights and the weekends. Dang. So I mean, it's just I didn't know if y'all ran into any of that, or No,
I asked them, and then you get GSP involved too, and they're their own entity that.
Oh man, they're a dumpster fire right now.
Because that's what they said. At least when the city cops get the tickets, that revenue stays at least within your city's court system and admin team. From what they were telling me, the county goes straight to the state, and then the state reimburses the county later on. But I need to get in there and see all those details.
That's the same way with GSP. Anything they write goes to the county.
It's just straight up like mafias. That's.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's in downtown Gainesville, it still goes to Hall County. It's just it's crazy. So.
Georgia's pretty. I'm sure there's other states that are worse, but the facade and the front that these folks put up of being pro small government and Republican ideologies and whatever else, like this is a straight up mafia from top down. Everybody's collecting their checks. Deals are getting cut back doors. You get in the way, you're getting steamrolled, and it's just
hell. It's worse than the mafia. These people screw everybody. The mafia, they stick to their own.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this though. So I'm 40, and I've been driving since I was 16. I tell you, you can drive through Braselton peacefully. I tell you right now, boy, if I drive through Gainesville at 11 p.m., I'm gonna be looking over my shoulder.
Oh, you drive nervous?
Hell yeah. Gainesville.
I don't drive nervous.
Gainesville. No, Gainesville will pull you out, boy. Have you not seen?
I used to have to go and pick my son up at Outback at like 11 or 12 at night. I'd pass 7 or 8 city cops within 3-4 miles, and they'd be following you, get right on your ass, trying to get you to swerve, or them bright lights coming in your rear view mirrors, your side view mirrors, and
Gainesville will get you.
Yeah,
they will. And I say, you see Hall County crime, hell, there's one officer that's got a mean right hook, because there's a street where like every 2 days you'd see somebody come in with black eye. Oh yeah.
That's one thing you don't want to do, and but there's answers out there, and I think you got a lot of good ideas to how to get through it. And the main one is you want to listen to the people.
Oh yeah.
To the people involved.
Yep.
And listen to them. And
I was going to add one thing. I just put another post on Facebook, on my Facebook account. I think both of you saw. Yeah, both of you did see it. It's funny because now as it's getting closer to election day, both of my competition's most loyal supporters, they're now reaching out to me with their concerns. Not for any bartering, not for, hey, if we help you. No, there ain't none of that. It's genuine. Hey, if you get in, what's your feelings on this? And I'm like, dude, that's a win right there. I was like, even if I don't get their votes, at least they know they can reach out to me and we can work together. And that's something I don't see now, which is that open door policy. Because people are afraid to approach the current administration because he's going to ream you.
Well, it's like here in Hall County, you can't even get in touch with a commissioner. Some of the commissioners will call you back, but a commissioner or anything. You can't even get an email response from most of them.
Well, that's a good thing to know, because
and that stuff has got to happen.
It's a good thing you said that, because one of my candidate or competitors here, he's getting the same feedback, is that there's nobody's been able to get in touch with it. I'm like, it's another one for me.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they trust you and you're building that trust, I've seen your pictures and a lot of the stuff. You can tell that those people are not just in it for a photo. Hey, let me get my picture made with the.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can tell they are generally interested in what you have to say.
Oh yeah, and like I said, if I'm like the ones from the festival, I mean, those people. Like I said, this political crap I'm getting into. This is just a few months old of my journey. I had no interest in being a politician at all. I don't think anybody does, really. I mean, who does? And
yeah, I mean, I didn't have any interest in any of this until I'm just like, what's going on?
About 18 months ago, and I'm like, no, something's got to be done.
Yeah,
this is blatant corruption. What's going on here? Yeah. Why are more people not pissed off?
And see, that's the thing. All those people in my festival pictures, like I said, they've known me for years, since I've been working at Wrigley's. You know, I mean, I've been going to those festivals buying, their jellies, their caramels, their food, their crafts. I mean, it's a good event. I mean, you see the whole community come together for that. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you're young, old, white, black, nobody cares there. I mean, that's what's good about it, is we all go around, we're all having a good time. I mean, that's rare to have these days with community.
Yeah.
So it is important to me.
Well, and like I was talking, we had a booth at Mule Camp Market, and for our charity NGA that advocates for learning disabled kids. And I just looked at all the people that was with us, and I said, where the hell's all this hate you keep hearing about on the news? And look at all these people.
It's fabricated.
I mean, you've got Hispanics, you got Indians, you got.
I was only Indians. Indians, plural.
You've got. I'm talking, and you've got. I mean, you've got everybody, all walks of life, the Asians, I mean, everybody there, they're all having fun. I mean, people dressed up like freaking bikers and goth people, and, it's just all walks of life, and they're all having fun and drinking beer and walking around. Where's all this? I mean,
you won't ever see that on the media. I mean, the Gainesville Times, they're not reporting that. Access WN, they're not reporting any of that. It's not controversial.
No,
it don't sell papers.
Yeah, it doesn't sell papers.
And that's what we've got to try to keep. We've got to, and I think you'll do that. You've got to build that up in the community. So, even though we may believe different, have different religions or different, we're still, that's not
that's where my belief comes in too. Like we're not changing anything at the federal level. We're not changing anything at a state level. But I mean, maybe we are. But our impact of what we can actually do is here in our own little communities. We need to start here. If we can start fixing our small towns and our counties and our communities, that domino effect spreads. And hopefully it's like a virus that spreads, and maybe we can save the country,
Mm-hmm.
So this got to start somewhere, because it's not happening at the federal or state level.
Yeah, it's got to start at this level. I mean, it has to.
And it's got to start with people that are 50 and under getting involved in the politics. I mean, you've got to.
Yeah,
because everybody that's in it now, they're in their 60s, 70s. They've been in it for years and years for the most part, and
it's that power struggle. It's that entitlement, that letting go of the power. I mean, you see it in people's families too, where the grandpa or the dad doesn't want to let go of control over the company or business operations or whatever. Kind of similar here.
Yeah, you even said it's the American Legion and the VFW and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, these are freaking all veterans, man.
I don't honestly, me personally, I don't understand that hold for power. I'm just like, maybe I'm just too lazy, because I'm like, yo, you want to do this?
Go ahead.
Like, go ahead. I want to go do something else. I don't feel the need to like constantly hang on to this kind of like power and then constant control over people. That constant want of control over people. I'm just like, bro, I want to go sit and have a beer next to a bonfire, bro. Like, if you want to take this on, please do. And I would personally, I would love to not ever even think about running for a political seat, whether it's the county commission or city council or anything like that. But when nobody else is stepping up, you know, we're talking about this with, and somebody's got to do it. And if nobody's going to do it, I'm not. And that's a promise I've made to myself now too. Is if I can run for a particular seat, I'm not letting the opposition run unopposed anymore. Like I you know, it's just not going to happen. So
yeah. And I'm talking. We've got some elderly, like older people that have never been politicians that are thinking about running too, and that's all good too.
That's great. Yeah, the more the merrier.
And I didn't mean to discount them when I said the younger people, but by whole and large, you're not going to find elderly people or people that are 55, 60 and older that want to get involved in none of this mess.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just how it is. And we've got a couple of guys that used to be on the commission years ago. They've seen how bad it's gotten. They're running back for their old seats again because they're tired of seeing where our county's spiraling.
I mean, it was like that when they were there too. They just weren't getting exposed because we didn't have social media back then.
Yeah, it wasn't. We didn't have all this growth and building like we do now.
True. I mean, a lot of that did come after them, but still, I'm sure there's some backdoor deals getting cut back then too.
Oh, I'm sure there was, and now they're letting people build 0.3 houses on 0.3 acres of land. I mean, come on, man. You can't have that. I mean, it's like that subdivision, Copper Springs on McEver Road. Hell, you can step from house to house.
Yeah, you can touch them. You can step out of a window and touch the house right next door to you.
Slap your neighbor if you wanted to. You know.
You know, it's funny though, is as they allow more and more of these developments, right, and they collect more and more of this tax money, they say, oh, the roads are getting more and more aware. We're going to need to collect more and more. It's an endless cycle.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, dude, you allowed the growth with the intent of collecting more taxes from that density.
Absolutely. That's the reason the developers go up to them. I mean, and I'm guilty of it too. When I'm trying to get a project approved, I go to them first because that's all these guys listen to. Hey, we're gonna add tax value. We're gonna add tax value. We're gonna add to your tax base.
Yeah.
And they eat that up. You talk to them about how much tax money you're gonna potentially bring in.
Yep.
They're eating it up.
That's all it is population density.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pack as many as you can in a square mile and tax the shit out of them.
That's it. That's it. I mean, how can you have put 700 units on, 13 acres or something? Come on now.
Well, Brandon, if
night, but not last night.
Oh yeah,
Brandon, if I was in Braselton, you'd have my vote, man.
Same here.
I would say just from your campaign on social media and stuff, just seeing how active you've been and actually going out and talking to people and kind of taking what you did with your early days at Wrigley's, talking to the folks involved, getting to understand the issues and what their concerns are and whatnot. I feel like you're the right guy for the job. So if you were on my ballot, bro, you have my vote. I hope some people in Braselton take a look at this interview as soon as Chris gets it uploaded and whatnot.
I appreciate
it. We can swing up some more votes for you and some bigger turnout.
More, and we'll blast it all over social media and all the groups that we can.
You're
free to do whatever you want to with it. You can get it and take clips out of it or whatever and add it because I've got it. I'll put it to where you can edit it.
If y'all want to post it and just tag me in it, I won't add it to my timeline yet, just because I want people to see specific videos right now.
Right.
Sure.
Tag me in them. That way they can go see it. They'll see it when they Google me.
Yeah.
Click on my name, they'll see it.
Yeah, that'll work because I'm on. See, I put all the information in, and it goes out to like 10 different podcast networks. Goes to Spotify, Apple. You know, hell, I'm drawing a blank right now. There's about 10 or 15 that I signed up for.
Heck yeah!
And as soon as it's posted, it gets alerted, and it's up online on those sites within 30 minutes usually. And I'll have it out tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow by lunch.
No, that'll work.
So
let me hop off, guys. I gotta go take care of a baby.
Yeah, and I'm sorry we lasted so long, but sometimes you just got to cover what you got to cover.
Oh yeah, you said it'd probably end up finishing around 11, and it's midnight now. I ain't got no worries.
You know, I mean, it just happened. You got to get in what you got to get in, and And
it was worth it, man. If we can swing up some more votes for you, hopefully, get Braselton heading in the right direction and some younger leadership in a local community here in Hall County. I think
just remember, anything, if you get elected on Tuesday or get in the runoff, just let us know anything we can do, and
man,
we'll be glad. Now, that just because we're not going to turn the opponent if he wants to come on too. I mean, we're going to allow him to come on too.
Yeah,
we're not equal access, and all that. But
they got to respond first.
Oh yeah.
A lot of these guys are like, "Who are you guys?"
Yeah,
exactly.
And see, that's what's crazy too. I got my foot in all these places because of that sole reason is they've sent out the invites to all three of us, and I'm the only one that's responding.
Yeah,
right. And I'm showing up with boxing gloves ready to go, and they're like, "You're the only one that said anything." I'm like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So. Well, we appreciate it, Brandon. And
yeah, man. Good talking to you, Brandon.
We'll have this up tomorrow, and good luck on Tuesday.
Thank you, sir. And I appreciate both of y'all. I really do.
Thanks
for having me.
All right, have fun. Be careful going to the racetrack.
Yes, sir. See ya.
All right, bye-bye.